Hi, everybody. Welcome today. Hello, Future Bestsellers and everybody. We're just very glad to see you today. Sorry, we were like deep into like a conversation today about how much we enjoy like the whole like talking with other writers thing. Anyway, yay! I'm so glad you guys are here. Today we have, I don't know, I can't remember if we talked to everybody this last week or the week before. So CARROW'S job, which we moved over to Monday, so CARROW could be with us because of her new job, and now she has to also work on Mondays. So that is why she's not here. We did not like have like a sad like falling out with CARROW. We love her, and she will come back every time that she is able to. So hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Daly, as people start wandering in. With me today are two of several of our favorite co-hosts. Sako Toomey is here today. Sako, tell our fine friends all about you.
Howdy, neighbors. I'm Sako Toomey, also known as Cass Foyt. I write horror, and I'm a witch, and I'm a graphic designer, and sometimes I combine those three things. If you are in the market for videos on marketing for authors, I have a whole playlist of them on my channel, and they're not all just me. And drop by sometime. I would love to see you.
Fantastic. I love that. That was really awesome. Story Detective Robert Jones is here as always. Tell us all about you. And what I know you're like planning for your channel to like come back a little. Although if you guys have not been over there, it's still awesome content. Yes. What's the deal with that? Tell us all about you.
There's been a lot going on, but I'm Robert Jones, the Story Detective. And on my channel, we take all forms of storytelling and we put it under a Sherlockian microscope and break it down and give the craft to viewers and hopefully make your craft journey easier. I also do tech reviews, and there has been a lot going on with my channel. It's going to reboot this fall, probably in October. We're in the midst of a potential move, and we're either going to be in the midst of a move in October, or I will be starting my channel. But I'm planning content and things to start it, and more explanations of what's been going on with me, my creative life and business, and there's definitely some exciting stuff coming up. I just don't want to get into it too soon. There's still some things to tie together, but it's all good.
Just a little teaser for the friends. It's a little teaser, little inside info. We like that. I know I'm like, so when are you coming back every week? But it's only because I'm excited and I miss your videos. Okay, let's say hello to some of our fabulous friends. Oh my gosh. So I'm like, I just tilted I was just pushing against my desk, and it made like my little camera go like that. So it looked like we were having like an earthquake, Florida earthquake. Ah. Okay. All right. Oh my gosh. I'm such a dork today. All right. Mary Wimbley is here. Hello, Mary. We are very glad to see you. And you are first. Congratulations. Yay. Very nice job. And Debbie's here. You made it second. Love the avatar. That was absolutely fantastic. Is that like a slightly different one? Is that new?
It is an updated one. She's been using it for a couple of months now.
Well, you guys know I'm slow, so love it. I'm like, what? I love this cool new thing, and you guys are like, yeah, it's been around.
It's been there for a minute.
It's been there for a little. I always love it. I get excited about the purple hair. All right, JL is here. Yay! Congratulations on being third. She says hello, all you lovely writing friends. Laura's here. Hey, Laura, we're very glad to see you. JL's got a good question. Do you prefer writing in first person or third? I love that question. All right, everybody. Inquiring minds want to know. Let's go around. I'll start with you, Robert, first. First person, third person.
My favorite is actually first person, but it depends on the story. If a story, just seems to take on a third person point of view, sometimes it's just better and it feels right. So I would experiment with both because you never know. I have started in first person and ended up going to third just to see how it would play out. And after chapters, I'll get a feel for it, and I'll either go back to first person or I'll stick with the third. But if you have any doubts about what you're writing in, try it, because you never know where your voice is going to lie.
That's true. Very true. Sako, how about you?
So, like I said, I write horror. So, sometimes I'll write first person, depending on the story. Sometimes I'll write in second person, depending on the story. But most of the time, when I'm writing like urban fantasy and stuff like that, I write in third person close.
Okay.
So it has the effect of first person, but it's more like hearing it secondhand than it is. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
First person meant for me, but you need to get in other people's heads, and sometimes it just doesn't work. But if you can space it out between, you know, one point of view per chapter, which is the most clear way to write anyway.
right.
I found, thanks to some good mentors that I had in the past, that you can actually take first person and do one chapter in one person's point of view and another chapter another person's point of view, and it'll still feel like third, and you'll still be able to get inside their heads and switch around.
Yeah. I know. I actually think I did a video about this a while back, and I personally prefer first person, but also I really am looking at maybe doing third person for my next, not the one I'm working on today, but my next book, the one that is a planned series. So same thing. I love first person because it feels more intimate, and a lot of times I'm writing romance, and so I love that. I love how personal that feels, but. I think it's really that third person offers so many opportunities. That said, I always say, try not to do multiple POV for your first novel. I mean, if that's the way that the story must be told, then more power to you. But it is really challenging for even more experienced writers sometimes to make sure that the voice between the two characters is different. And I just read a book by an author who has produced 4 or 5 different books that had maybe 6 points of view.
That's excessive.
Many characters, and it was too many for one. And this is a guy who's written a number of books. It was too many, and they all sounded the same. And there's nothing more frustrating than I can't tell the difference between I don't know. Actually, the person knows I wrote the book, so I'm not going to say it. I don't want to give myself away, but I will say it really was this makes me crazy. All right, let's hear from
the real big difference for the lead or fail. I mean, if you're really good at those character voices and that's what you want to play around with and give them all distinctive voices, first person is great.
Right.
But the voices in your head and not on the page, you're better off going with third person.
Yeah.
Just going to be
easy. For my Vela project, I'm co-writing it with a friend.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking third person for the vampire, and then the main character maybe be in first person, and then we kind of go back and forth that way.
I kind of like that. That's pretty cool. All right, so go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Does that make her seem like a god? Because it seems like it. I mean,
don't know.
They'll have different voices, and
I've seen it done well before. As long as she doesn't know, right? I think you're seeing her perspective, and then I don't think that. I mean, it could come off that way, but I've seen it done well, and I don't think that happens. But I've never written that way, so I can't tell you what would be the difference. But I think as long as you're clear that the reader would just kind of easily go back and forth. We need somebody who's done that. Has anybody done this in the chat? I'm kind of dying to know. So Mary prefers third, at least for her current work in progress. Debbie finds third easier. Jeannie Noble's here. Hello. Very glad to see you. Claude is here. Hello, Claude. We're glad you made it today. I do not know where Michelle is today. I sent her the link. I should go check when we do our 5-minute warm-up. Doll is here. She must have sent me a text message. Why are you not on the screen, Doll? Ginny writes in third most of the time. Doll, good morning. T. Third person is my favorite, but I've written first person in my shorts. Hold on. Let's take a quick check of Facebook to see where Miss Doll is.
I think too that it's interesting maybe to point out that throughout the history of best-selling novels, more have been written in third person than first. And I think
Oh,
people are used to, and maybe it is the clarity and the sameness flow is there, and it's not changing unless you're very good, like we said, at getting that unique character voice that move that along. It's going to seem a little bit jarring for some people.
True, absolutely true. All right, so Doll is she's coming. She's on her way. All right, Laura says her POV depends on the story. If it's horror micro, do first, second, or third. Novels for YA, done first. Adult sci-fi, do third. That is good. Well, the other thing too, right? Your genre readers sometimes have a preference. Like when I started writing romantic comedy, everybody wanted first person, but now a lot of the big authors in my category, like Christina Lauren or even like Emily Henry, they write in third. So I think it kind of depends. Just Eva's here. Hello, Eva. We're very glad to see you. All right, Adrian. Hi, Adrian. We're glad you made it today. Adrian prefers third person, has more traditional feel. Very Dickens to me. Of course, he wrote in both first and third, but third, I feel, gives you more flexibility. I think that's true.
You don't have to be as close.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's very true. All right, JL has another excellent question. How do you all manage or conquer passive voice? Let's think of let's do this. Let's do our 5-minute warm-up while everybody thinks about the answer to that question. And then we will come back and talk about this. JL has awesome questions today. So thank you, JL. I appreciate it. All right. I am going to pop up the timer, and we are going to start off with our 5-minute warm-up. So this is just going to give you guys, a little chance to get your documents open and, excuse me, get your drink or your coffee or whatever that you need, your water. Whoop, hold on. It just went without me. I have my gigantic bottle of water. But you can see, though, I have not even made it to 7 o'clock good morning yet. So I really need to suck that down. Okay. I'm behind schedule on my water bottle and my manuscript, so we'd better get rolling today. All right, you guys, let's get ready for our 5-minute warm-up sprint in 3, 2, 1. And then when we come back, we're going to talk more about JL's question because I think it was a really, really good one. And then we'll do some 20-minute writing sprints after that. So here we go, 5-minute warm-up. 3, 2, 1. Let's sprint.
You're muted. You're muted.
I'm such a dork. All right, so
Everyone's
welcome back, everybody. You know who else is muted? Story Detective. That's all my fault. He's on an iPad, so I always have
There's still no
to.
sound.
So I always what?
Is that me?
I can hear. Okay, you guys in the chat, can you hear me, or are
Yes.
my lips just moving?
No, Lisa, I can hear you.
Okay, good. All right. Sako said she couldn't hear.
So maybe I should jump out and jump back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So Doll is here. Hello,
Hi.
Doll. We're very, very glad. Found it challenging to make it to the green room of the stream without a link, and that would be my fault. So I apologize. I really thought I sent it this morning, so I did send them late. But
Okay.
yeah,
So
anyway,
it helps if I put the earbuds back in.
Oh, that is helpful. That is helpful. Okay. So we are so glad you made it. I think we have such a conversation.
Lisa,
So we had a second conversation popped in. I'm frozen.
You've got
I should
a
do
little
it
bit
this.
I
T-pain
just
happening.
arrived. I brought the cyber gremlins with me.
Oh, no. Okay, so we had a question, and then we got to another, and then we got another question. So I want to go through the answers on the first one, first person, third person. So Claude says a couple of years ago, tried to draft with 3 points of view, one first, one second, one third. It was fun to write, not sure about the results. You are a brave soul, Claude.
Second point of view is great for nonfiction, I've discovered, because you are talking to the reader. So you are like, and then you might try this, and maybe if you think that this cannot work, maybe you can try blah blah blah. But like you, and then maybe you mention I, because you share your own experience. So it's like a back and forth between first and second.
Yes.
And I wrote a thriller noir with a second person hint. It was like same thing. It was first person between the characters, but the characters were talking at each other. So there was a you thing in there. So yeah, I have done it, but it has to be there for a reason.
Yeah, I agree. And and I write both fiction and nonfiction, and second person is obviously really, really important when you are writing nonfiction, because you want the person to feel like I'm talking to you, I'm giving you some really good advice here. And yeah, Michelle, hi. We're so glad you made it today.
I'm so glad I have power again.
Oh my gosh.
It is too hot outside to be not having air conditioning.
Yes. I can completely relate to that. Absolutely. So here, let's catch you guys up. Doll was like in the chat, but here's what we're talking about. Whether JL had asked whether we prefer, who prefers first person versus third person, and then we had a couple of people pop in with second person. So you got here just in time to answer the question. Do you write in you write in first or third? Which one do you like better?
I write both. I've published in both. I think I tend to lean towards third, but it depends on the book.
Depends, exactly.
Yeah. Second is really fun to play with.
Second is really fun.
Yeah, really fun.
My sci-fi project, maybe the first book is not so dark, but the second and the third get kind of dark. So I prefer to keep that kind of distance between the characters and the readers. Just to give, because like if I put the readers in the head of my characters as the things happen to them, I think it would be a little bit too much. So that's why the sci-fi stays in third, no matter who tells what.
That is one thing I keep in mind when I write in second person is autonomy. I do not put thoughts in their heads. I'm more like, this is what is happening to you, and how they interact with the second person sort of point of view is totally up to them, which means the experience for every reader is going to be a little bit different.
Right.
Interesting. Really interesting. All right. So Eva says she prefers third person. Narration style is my favorite, adjusted to the like all of us, what's appropriate for the work in progress. My current is in first person with a few chapters of narrated or third person. So that's sort of that is exactly what you were talking about with writing some, the main character in first person, and then having did you say the devil?
A vampire.
A vampire. Doll says, I love multi-POV, but I have an outline. I'm just not sure which way it'll go. I'm not sure it's I being told is in the scene yet. There are very few sections. I will say that I did write a book with a partner a while, but I ended up ghosting it. But originally we were going to try and write it together. And
Tell me about it.
yeah, and so that's a fascinating story, and I signed an NDA, but I could probably give some details without dropping names. So if you guys want to hear that story sometime, you let me know. But we started it off in third person, and it just didn't. It was a YA. It just did not feel right, and so we switched it to first person. And I will tell you, for every author I know that's ever switched POVs, you will find 57 drafts in a million. Plus your editor, you will still find like pronoun problems, and because swapping your POVs, like it's just a nightmare. Okay. Oh, hey Maya, very nice to see you. Very nice. Very good job. JL says thoughts about writing in second person. Very I like it. I've not used it for fiction, but I think it would be a fascinating thing.
I only use it for fiction when it comes to horror.
Interesting.
Also, like choose your own adventure stuff.
Right. I can totally see that.
Yeah, and unless there's a really good reason for it, as Dal pointed out, it's best to pretend that second person doesn't exist, because it will usually clutter and jumble your narrative and get you into trouble if you don't really know what you're doing.
There are a lot of like roots and stuff to trip over in second person for sure.
Yes, that's true. All right, Maya says, OMG, just a thought, Vela is US only, but if I partner with a US author, I can get around that. All right, so if anybody wants to partner with Maya,
okay, so here's the thing.
Making the pretty face.
Here's the thing. Maya and I are already working on a children's book together. And I feel like stacking a Vela project on top of that would be a lot, but like maybe we can come up with a Vela thing. I don't know. What do you want to do, Maya?
Okay. This is another true love match born right here on our stream. Another partnership. Okay. Eva says, I have a shelf work in progress with third person multi. I don't know if it'll say that way. Eva says, same 2 times. I need to outline for a multi POV. Yes. And I also tend to use first person in shorts and third and longer pieces. That's kind of fascinating. That's pretty cool. Maya's like me. She likes first. Tina's here. Hello, Tina. Very, very glad to see you. Oh, my gosh. CO Savvy's here.
Yay. Lots of hugs.
I know. We love CO Savvy. Yay. We're so glad you're here.
Passive voice question.
The passive voice. I feel like we should answer the first one. Okay. So, Eva likes reading in third. She doesn't read romances. Now she's wondering if high amount of first person in the genre is part of that. Well, good news for you. It's sort of kind of made a drift to third person. So maybe give it another try. All right. Okay. Hold on. Let me see.
Passive voice.
Passive voice. Let me go back to the question so that we can answer it. Wait. Oh, okay. There we go. The question was, how do you all manage or conquer passive voice? So, Robert, I'm going to start with you. Why don't you answer that question?
Well, again, I think it comes down to getting to the point of things. I think we all use passive voice when we're drafting first draft, just because it flows out of us, and and then when you're editing, you kind of get to the punch. He was doing blah blah instead of showing it. It's almost like, where would you plunge the knife of that sentence rather than putting in a whole lot of waste words and stuff that's going to distract, and that's what makes it passive.
Can I just say, plunge the knife of that sentence.
I have a comment.
It's something that I'm both impressed and going to be haunted by, and I think you should write that down because it needs to go in your craft book, Robert. That plunge the knife, right?
I think it comes into
Plunge
Teddy
the knife. Yeah.
And it's hard because you're writing in past tense a lot. In past tense, you can wander off into passive voice pretty easily.
Right.
So
another thing that
can you survive without those words? Can you survive in making it seem like it's more cutting out all of that, the flab that it tends to be in there? And I'm writing like a period piece, so it's hard because
it is.
Victorian language was filled with a lot of waste words. So it comes to dialogue, and I guess getting back a little bit and linking that up with first and third person. When you come to dialogue, you still need to find that interesting voice and really find your individuality. And therein, I think, lies some of the secret, knowing your character and how they would speak and how they would do things and get to the point. Most characters, like most people, aren't thinking in the passive unless they're a really passive kind of person to begin with, and you're doing it intentionally.
Right. Very nice. Very, very nice. All right. So Eva had some really good advice. She said, finding the subject of each sentence helps me. If the door is the subject of an opening sentence of a paragraph, the main character is the subject in the next, another character in the third. Too passive. Passive voice, same thing that you had just said, goes hand in hand with telling and not showing. I think passive is fine in fiction, but not if it pulls the reader out. Swapping subjects pulls the reader out. She opened the door versus the door swung open. I guess it depends on who's behind the door. What's the deal? All right, he saw her standing there versus she stood there in his view. Right, and that's POV as well.
Yeah, that's POV as well. Another thing that we have to keep in mind is, like, if you went to college or, big theses and research papers and stuff, they teach you to write a lot of filler words. They want you to write a lot of words just for the sake of it. They want you to sound passive because it's academic text. So you will have a little bit of that residue in you, and you will have to clean it off as you start writing your fiction. So just keep that in mind. Don't blame yourself. It comes from university. It's not your fault.
Not just that, but I just lost what I was going to say.
Well, you're thinking of it. I'm going to go to Mary, and then we're going to go to Michelle. But you think of what you're saying, and then just talk when it comes back. Okay. Mary says, I look at whether the action is something the character does or something that's happening to the character. Even when it's the latter, I try to word it in an active way. All right, Michelle, what say you on this topic?
I think this is like my go-to for almost every issue with writing, but the more you read good books, the more you do it naturally.
I'm with you.
Yeah. If you're reading books by like skilled writers who know how to, I don't want to say fully avoid passive, but only like use it when it's necessary, then you kind of like absorb that and you recognize it when you're doing it, and
right.
Or at least when you're reading it, or at least when you're reading it back.
Yeah.
Right. That's where, for me, that's where it really stands out, is that, and I'm like, I really lean very heavily towards active voice, but I also think there are times and places for passive voice, and it does get kind of like, you don't want to write your whole book in passive voice, but it's okay if you have it in there sometimes. You don't have to feel like every single sentence that you have has to be active voice. There are, like with everything, there is, it can make it great, but think of it as like a seasoning, like a little, right? It's like salt. Yeah.
Also, if it's all passive voice, women are more inclined to speak in passive, and men are more inclined to speak in active. So you can often tell like a speaker who is male or female, a speaker can reveal whether they're male or female by whether they speak in passive or whether they speak in active.
I think it comes with a bit of conflict in visual as well, because one perfect example that I got was you could have two guys talking, and one guy supposedly had an argument with his girlfriend and he kicked her out. And the one friend says, you didn't have to kick her out, which sounds very bland. And then you have another type of sentence that says you didn't have to push her out the door. And you look at the difference in the visual. It's not passive, it's actually aggressive, and it's also visual, because you're immediately seeing that argument, and he's like physically pushing her out rather than saying, oh, you didn't
Right. I think too, that idea of active versus passive, I think sometimes when people will say, oh, it's too passive, a lot of times what they mean is that it's not visual enough. Like, I think that those things are really connected in a lot of ways.
It is also a cultural thing, I should say, because like I've been reading more international authors, and the more visual is very American, and not all of us do this.
Absolutely. All right, you guys, I think it's time for a 20-minute sprint. We have been chit-chatting. It is time to start writing. So let me pull up our little, oh, hold on. I just almost pulled up a video file. I'm not quite sure what that is. All right, hold on. All right. You'd think I'd be smoother at this by now, but I'm not. So I just will apologize ahead of time. All right, Doll, would you like to take us out for our sprint? All right.
Okay,
here we go.
It is Monday, and we're starting the week with lovely sprints. We have 20 minutes on the clock. You don't have to do this alone, because we are here for you. We are here with you. So put your fingers on the keyboard. Put your mind in your story. And let's get sprinting in 3 and 2 and 1 and sprint.
Okay, here we go. All right. Oh, I can still hear my timer going. All right. Well, you know, I do like the nice little ocean sounds here. All right, you guys. How did everybody do?
I think quite well. Maybe. Kind of.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it. You know what we didn't do? We did not talk about what we were working on today. So we have many good conversations going, so I don't want to go too deep. But let's do like a quick, 15 seconds. What are you working on today? Starting with you, Story Detective, what are you working on?
I am still editing my manuscript. Draft 2 is shaping up. I have a lot of ideas as I go along. I'm making notes for draft 3 instead of going back and forth as I was last week, which that's a bad habit.
Yeah, we know that. Dal, what are you working on today?
I am working on part 2 of my Instagram for Authors nonfiction book.
Yay, that's awesome. Sako, what are you working on today?
I'm working on a submission for an anthology.
Good. All right. Fantastic. I am working on my current work in progress. Still trying to get that sucker done, but coming along. It's almost done. All right. Mary is going to have to go. She got part of a scene edited, but I want to say goodbye. Bye. She has to log into
Bye,
work.
Mary.
All right. So you guys in the chat, how did everybody do? BC got 37 words, mostly reread a scene and fleshed out as needed. Diane is here. Hello, Diane. Diane is editing first draft of a cozy mystery. That is fantastic. Michael, I missed a lot of comments. Hi, Kelly. Good morning. I think you're new with us today. Very glad to see you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And Michael CB Chen is here. Hello, darling. How are you? I am so far back, you guys. I'm like so far back in the comments. So let's catch up. Ready? BC Brown is here. She said, yes, there are times and places for passive voice, as there are times and places for telling and not showing. True, true, true. Eva had said schooling wasn't required. Length requirements. Oh, hold on. She said, my academia didn't allow passive voice and often had word limits. Found it helped with passive as it was a mark against me. A lot of us learned that way. All right. We have one other thing I wanted to talk about today. Michelle is off taking a call. She is not just like in the zone and forgetting about us. She had to take a call, but she'll be back with us in a little bit. So here's my big question for today. Ready? Favorite craft book? What? I know. No pressure.
But you guys know my answer.
We do. I know, but I thought we might share just in case everybody in the chat is not psychic. But I'm very, very excited, you guys. Let's see. Hold on just one second. Maya says, I'm working on finding people for my anthologies. Some people said they just can't anymore. I get that. I think a lot of people are just kind of burned out. Totally burned out. All right. Let's do this because it's noon and we've only done one sprint. When we come back, we're going to talk about our favorite craft book.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So everybody in the chat, I want you guys to know, I want you guys to think about your favorite craft book because we're going to talk about it. We'll take a little poll. We're going to see if we've got any clear winners here. I think, so I have 2 on my desk. If I have to pick one, I will. But I think one of them... Huh?
I have 2 to share as well. One's a craft.
Okay, so
are we going to share the same one? Because I think we will.
Because Robert because Robert and I can't follow our own instructions. It's now your favorite 2 craft books. All right, you guys.
Your favorite 2.
Right. Your favorite 2. So everybody thinking about your favorite 2 craft books. And when we come back, we will talk about that. I want to go ahead and hop into another sprint because we are here to chit-chat, but we are also here to work. So, all right, here we go. I am going to put up our little screen. We've got our little share screen. All right. It's not much of a break this time, but we're on a deadline, people. All right, we got to do this. All right, here we go. So here's our lovely screen. Doll, would you like to take us out
Yes.
again? I know how much you enjoy doing that. All right,
All
here we
right.
go.
This is the second sprint of our live stream today. We have been chatty, but now it's time to work. So, you know what it means, right? You put your fingers on a keyboard, you put the mind back into your story where it should be, and we're getting ready to sprint in 3 and 2 and 1 and sprint.
All right, everybody. All right, let's see. We got to get Robert back off the mute. I got to get this to be quiet for a second. All right, now I'm ready. Now we've got it.
We're ready.
Now we're cooking with gas. All right. So, oh my gosh, we got 23. I wasn't even looking at the comments. I was like in the zone, getting stuff done. Okay.
Same.
So, yay. All right, here we go. Blah, blah. Okay, Maya and BC hooking up. That's awesome. All right. I'm sorry. I have to put this up. Michael says, I'm assuming that the wild man with his simple and revealing loincloths preferred show rather than tell, if you get my drift. Yeah. All right. There we go.
Favorite craft book?
Yes. Favorite craft books. All right. I'm looking. Here we go. So let's start with Michelle's not back off her call yet. So we're going to start with not Sako because she's got a mouthful of food. No. All right. So I think that Doll and Robert, you guys want to? I want you guys to say it at the same time. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then.
Let's show and
Okay,
tell.
ready? Okay, ready? Yes. Okay.
Stein on
Wait.
writing.
Oh, you blew it. 1, 2, 3.
Ta-da.
Yeah.
Writing by Stein.
There.
Because one has to look back at the masters that invented the craft that everyone else is emulating.
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm done. I knew this was going to be your favorite, both of you, because I have heard you guys talk about this a million times. But I think it's great what you say, what Robert is holding up. All right, so I'm going to just go around the circle. I will start with you, Robert. So, all right, that was the first one. What's the second one?
The second one isn't so much a craft book. It's more of a discovery that will help you with your craft. And it's this book. What would Machiavelli do? The engine.
I love that.
Oh, wow.
I love that. Oh my God. That's
awesome.
great.
If you're writing villains, this is like the playbook for every
Hold
corporate maniacal politician. It's all right here.
I have to. I'm ordering this right now.
It's written kind of humorously, but at the same time, it's so spot on. It's almost scary.
Yeah.
So it's the kind of book that I don't know. Once you read it, you can't unsee it. You can
I
look
would not be able to talk about this book without my Russian accent because my villain needs this book. No, he doesn't need that. No, don't give it that.
I love that. I love just the title. I love the title of this.
So if you go by, what's traditionally written about what you should have about villains, and then you get to certain scenes and reactions, you can almost look up what the reaction would be or have potential options for what they would do just by looking up the different things in this book.
Is there something for people who are perceived as villains, but not really, like morally gray and very questionable characters? Is that there as well?
So far, not.
I'm guessing
Okay, no, that's not
sociopath or you're not.
Okay, no, that's not Hulda then.
Yeah, he pokes at those type of characters. I mean, if your character is trying to do what his boss or the person above him wants him to do, he may try to emulate these things because it's certainly a playbook that he would want to try to emulate, but maybe not so good, or maybe not enjoying it. Here, your villain is going to enjoy
the remains of the day. The remains of the day.
That is phenomenal. That is absolutely phenomenal. All right, Doll, here we go. So we know your number. Do you have one book or two?
I have two.
Okay,
and
what's your second one?
The other one might surprise you because it's some old book that a lot of people maybe don't remember or don't care. But I have it as a favorite because it illuminated me that, hey, there is a place for every story you can think of. And that book is The 7 Basic Plots.
Oh, yeah.
Christopher Booker, I think.
Excellent book.
Yeah, and before I read that book, I felt like everything I was doing was wrong. My sci-fi was all wrong because I wanted to tell something different that didn't fit the rags to riches or the chosen one or the. And I realized that my story is like a voyage and return type of story, and I was like, there is a place for my thing. It exists. So, that's why that book has a special place in my heart, even though it's just for you to realize that hey, there's a plot for everything.
That is absolutely fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. All right, so I want to go back to a couple. Hi, Allie's here. Hello. Super glad to see you. She said her rabbits ate her laptop charger.
Yep.
God.
Last night.
All right. She said, so we're talking about, if you guys just got here, we're talking about your very favorite craft book. Even if it's not like a classic, like even if it's everybody else would think it was terrible, even if, what is your favorite what are your favorite craft book or two craft books? Okay, so yes, the survival book counts. I have a book on how to survive any natural disaster. That's a great book. That's a great book. Laura says Anatomy of Prose by Sasha Black. It got me to level up my prose by practicing in flash fiction. So good. Wait, there's a whole thing about mashed potatoes. Laura says my copy of Stein on writing came last week. What? Right? Diane says pulls her copy of On Writing off her shelf. That was one of my two. It's a classic. I will say the thing that I love the most about On Writing was the point where there's lots of great advice, right? But the thing that resonated the most for me out of the entire book was when Stephen King talks about how he used to always sort of feel ashamed that he liked to write horror, right? That it was like not as sort of good as these other things. And then he sort of ultimately came to the conclusion that he loves this, other people love it, and that is freaking good enough for him. And that helped me because I used to be like, I write romance secretly, and I was always mortified about it. And I, even though I wrote it, I actually, sort of bought into some of the early stereotypes about it. And that book made me feel like, okay, I'm going to be loud and proud here. I'm a romance writer. Okay. All right, here we go. Sako, you're next. 2.
All right.
Ready?
Okay.
Here they come.
All right. So the first one is Structuring Your Novel by K.M. Weiland.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
If you are on storyplanner.com and you have a premium account, her method is actually one of the options you get.
Oh, cool.
It's really great because it's not a save the cat sort of structure, and it is open enough to where you can do whatever kind of story that you would like. It's just like, this is how to move it forward.
That's cool. All right. What's number 2?
Number 2 is Writing in the Dark by Tim Wagner.
Okay.
Nice.
That's
a great one.
That one.
Whoop. I'm about halfway through this one. It's really great as far as like how to write horror in a way that doesn't bank entirely on gore.
Yeah.
Because gore is not my favorite, and sometimes I kind of fall back on it in a horror story just to like move things along.
Yeah, I get that. Although some people love gore.
Some people, yes.
Some people do. All right, Michelle, favorite 2 craft books?
Man, okay. So I really can't pick favorites because I just like reading. I always get something cool from any craft book that I read. But I'll do this. Okay, the first one, the one I use the most often, especially as a teacher, is The Magic Words by Sheryl Klein. It's just like she does such a good job of using. See, it's so. I use it. She has so many examples, and I find that especially like in a workshop setting, talking theory can only go so far. Like students need to actually see examples, so she takes examples of books that she's published and shows you. Like she has, just for one example, a book that the author wrote in first person, and it wasn't working. and she discusses why, and then compares it to the final version, which was in third person, and why that was the right POV for that particular story. Things like that, where you actually see it. It's like so helpful. Also, she has
I need to order that book.
exercises like specific that I pull from all the time, even for like video ideas. I steal from this book a lot. And then for my more like unorthodox, not really a craft book pick, I'm gonna go with Tarot for Writers, because if you're ever just feeling stuck, pull this out, pull out your tarot cards, like it'll give you just character ideas, and yeah, it's fun. I mean, come on, it's tarot.
Yeah, it was
This is my storytelling deck.
Although I got the first one, your recommendation that I picked it up.
That's awesome. That is really awesome. So, so for me, so on writing again, and I think it was like I get lots of different things out of different writing books and lots of different craft books, and but I will say that the ones that I picked out as my favorites are the ones where I had some like kind of moment. So when I wrote my first novel, I already had a nonfiction book that was published through Penguin, and I basically pitched my novel idea to my editor over lunch, and I had written like not very much. I had the idea for it, but I'd never written fiction before. I didn't really know what I was doing, and
it sounds like inverted roles with me. Telling you that I have never done nonfiction. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yes, right. So I had never done fiction. But I really I had this idea as clear as day. And so I basically had I wrote 9 chapters and sold the book off that. And they just made the foolish assumption that I would actually know how to finish the book. And I did not, but I had the check and I didn't want to give it back. And so, right, once you get the money, you're writing the book. And so I read about 1 million, novel writing for dummies and every possible book you could imagine. And the one that was super helpful to me, which I do not think is like the best craft book at all, I should say, but was super helpful to me because it was a Janet Ivanovich book, and how she's plotted out her novels, which is the problem I really needed help with at the time, was that she storyboards them. And I had done that when I worked in advertising, and that opened up the whole world for me. So for that reason, and that reason only, I'm giving Janet How I Write. She gets the big nod. So, but there are lots of others. Okay, here we go. Let's talk. B.C. Brown, The Copy Editor's Handbook. That is an excellent one. Structuring Your Novel. Awesome resource. Emmett Ward says, I love the Are You Actually series by Brendan Q. Scott, but my recent favorites are 10 BS Medical Tropes That Need to Die Today and Name Your Characters by Samantha Keel. That is, I can't decide whether Name Your Characters or What Would Machiavelli Do. It's the best title, but they're really, really close. I also really like the Complete Handbook of Novel Writing.
Who writes that?
Yeah, I don't know. BC, I feel like I have that one. I could look, but I don't know. There was a book called, was it The Marshall Plan? Where the book is fairly difficult to get through, but there was a workbook, and that was really helpful for me. I sure hope that doesn't end on a cliffhanger, BC Brown. He's hilarious. Okay, you guys, here's the deal. I have to stop before 1 today, so we have got to get one more sprint in us for today. We are going to make this happen.
I've written more than 600 words in this live stream, so let's do this.
Nice. All right, well, let's write some more. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. I'm checking the audio box. All right. I know. Every time
Welcome
it's like
to Del Cecil Runo's customer service.
That's right. All right, everybody. Let's do our very last sprint. You guys are all warmed up. You're all pepped up because it's all awesome little pep talks. And now we are going to do one last writing sprint. 20 minutes on the clock. Make it count, everybody. Here we go. In 3, 2, sprint.
And we're muted.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back. There you go. We're back. So welcome back, everybody. I hope that was super productive. You guys did such an incredible job. BC Brown says, time for me to bounce. Need to bring up my work system. Got it. It is time for us to bounce too. We're going to have to do 30-second outros today. All right, here we go. Starting with Michelle, because she didn't get to do her intro. Michelle, tell us a little about you.
All right. I'm Michelle Schusterman. I'm a middle grade and young adult author, although I am now writing a mystery that is for adults. So hooray.
Yay!
I don't know that much, but yeah, new project. And my channel is writing workshops, traditional publishing talk, and writing blogs. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you for being here. As always, you are awesome. Sako!
Howdy neighbors, I'm Sako Toomey, also known as Casboy. I write horror and I'm a witch and I'm a graphic designer, and sometimes I combine those three. If you are interested in marketing for authors, I have a whole playlist of those videos on my channel, and they're not all by me. Pleased to be dropping by. I'd love to see you.
Yay, awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Sako. Doll!
Hi, I'm Books Cecil Runo. I'm a partially blind writer for introspective readers, and I write sci-fi and short stories in multiple genres. My channel is currently on a hiatus, but you can find me on Instagram at Books Cecil Runo. Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks for being here. Yay, story detective.
Being a story detective, I look at all forms of storytelling and put them under a Sherlockian microscope, breaking them down and delivering them to you to make your craft journey easier. My channel is also on hiatus, but it's coming back in October with even bigger and better things.
Yay. That's awesome. That is so awesome. I'm Lisa Daly. This is my channel. Thank you so much for all of my awesome co-hosts and all of you guys who showed up in the chat. This would not be any fun at all without you guys. So thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next week. All right. Bye, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.